Now let us solve the same problem which was solved last time, but this time we will solve it using Rayleigh-Ritz piecewise method, which will be using it in finite element method, and the question here remains same. This is our differential equation. This is our domain. X goes from 0 to 1. These are our boundary condition, looks to be again essential boundary conditions. And then since this is a Rayleigh-Ritz piecewise method, which is a method which is based on the variational method, we know that in variational method we cannot directly use this given differential equation, but first we have to convert this given differential equation into equivalent integral form. And to convert this given differential equation into equivalent integral form, we will make use of Euler-Lagrange equation. And if you remember, this is our Euler-Lagrange equation. So to obtain the equivalent integral form of a given differential equation, what we do is we compare the given differential equation with that of the Euler-Lagrange equation. And if I do that, I can compare this quantity, that is d square u by dx square, with this quantity, that is d dou f by dou u dash. And how we can do that is this dou, here I have written it already, this d by dx of dou f by dou u dash, I can compare it with this quantity as follows. That is, I will bring out one derivative here, and then this will be du by dx, which will be nothing but this term I can also write as u dash. So I will be comparing this term with this term, and this term is something which doesn't have any derivative with respect to x, and I can straight away compare this with this term u plus x, which doesn't have any derivative with respect to x. So that is why this term has been compared with this remaining term u plus x, whereas this term has been compared with this term. So that is what has been done here. Now further, our goal is to find this f, and if I integrate this once with respect to u, I will get this as f as u square by 2 plus x times u, or u times x. So this is what I get after integrating this term with respect to u. And then similarly here, if I integrate this term with respect to x once, I will get it as dou f by dou u dash will be equal to minus u dash. And further, if I want to find what is f, I will have to integrate this one more time with respect to u dash, and in that case I will get this as u dash square by 2, right, and this sign minus sign. So I have been able to get the f from both the cases. And then how we frame this, frame this equivalent integral form is, it is nothing but r is equal to f integral of f over the domain, and this will be the domain. So in this case, our domain goes from 0 to 1, and if I look here carefully, our f here is nothing but, I have two terms for f. One is minus half du by dx whole square, and I have u square by 2 plus ux. So if I combine them both, I will get my f as this, because f is nothing but this term plus this term. So this term plus this term. So this is my functional or equivalent functional. Now as we know that this functional is applicable over the entire domain, but since I am solving this using finite element method, I won't be solving it over the entire domain, but what I will do is I will discretize the given domain here into three elements, because they have asked us to use three elements. So I will discretize this entire domain from 0 to 1 into three elements. So if I consider one typical element here, and in case of, if I consider the global coordinate system, I have here one typical element whose coordinates are xi and xj, and the general nodes are I and j, and let the length of the element be le, and this le is nothing but xj minus xi. This is le. And then if I consider this as our typical element, then I can generate the element level equation from this functional, obtained functional, as this. So only thing what we have to do is, basically if I want to apply this functional to this element, then I need to change the domain which was earlier from 0 to 1 to xi to xj, because this equation is applicable only to this element, and that is how we solve the problems in finite element method. First we will model the element equation or finite element equation only for one typical element, and then we will combine it over the entire domain. the way we had seen last time. So this is the element level equation. Now here, now it is a time to substitute or assume trial function in this equation, that is here and here and here. So I need to assume a trial function, and we know that for a 1D linear element or displacement model in case of finite element method is this, which we had seen now in number of times, and then which is nothing but u is ui ni plus uj nj, where ni and nj are the shape functions, whereas ui and uj are the unknowns at the node I and node j. And then if I want to write this in terms of matrix form, I can write it in this fashion, which we had seen last time in detail. And then further in compact form, I can also write it in this fashion, where n stands for ni nj, and this delta stands for ui uj. So this is in place of u, I will be writing this term, matrix n multiplied by the column vector ui uj, which will be represented by delta. So this is what I'll be writing for u, but I want here u square also and du by dx also. So this will be only helpful here to substitute here. But what about now this u square? Now u square, I will have to find it this way. I will have to square this, and then if you remember, if I have two matrix AB and if I want to square them, then I can square it as AB transpose times AB, and then further this AB whole transpose can be written as B transpose A transpose, then this remains as it is, AB. So this is what exactly I will apply it here. Now if I want to square this matrix, then according to this I will have to write this as AB transpose times A into B, right? And then further if I want to open this bracket, then this AB transpose will be B transpose A transpose, and this remains as it is. So this will be my u square term. So this is what I will be substituting it here. So I have taken care of u, I have taken care of u square. Now let us see how to find du by dx. Du by dx is nothing but it is a first derivative of x. It is a first derivative of u with respect to x, and as we know, ui and uj are the unknowns, or the unknown variables or unknown parameters at the nodes which are independent of x. So only quantity here which is dependent on x is ni and nj, that is shape functions. So this derivative of u with respect to x will be applicable only to the shape functions, and therefore I can write this du by dx square whole square term as it is. Only thing is, since I have this derivative of u, I will have to take the derivative of these shape functions, both these shape functions, as follows. Other everything remains same, or else you can consider it this way also. This u, since u is n into delta, du by dx or u dash du by dx will be dn by dx times delta. And then if I want to square this term, it will be nothing but same as this. So only thing is, in place of n I have here dn by dx, and in place of delta I have same delta. So exactly I'll get the same way. Only thing is, in place of n I will get dn by dx. So now I have been able to find the value of u dash and u square and du by dx whole square, which I will be substituting now in this term, in this term. And if I do that, if I do the substitution, in place of minus half, I have written this minus half as it is, but in place of du by dx whole square, I will substitute this entire term here, right? And then again I have here half into u square, so this half is written as it is, and in place of u square I have written this entire term as it is here. And then finally, in place of x is nothing but it is like a u, but in place of delta ui uj I will have xi xj. So it is same like this, but when I will be substituting it here, it won't be x as such, but it will be x transpose, and x transpose will be nothing but n x transpose, and this will be x transpose and transpose, the way we had done it here. So here basically I will substitute x transpose and transpose in place of x. In place of x I will substitute x transpose and transpose, and then in place of u I know what to substitute. It will be n times delta. So this is what I have been able to this is how I have been able to rewrite this equation in terms of the all the matrices, in terms of all the metrics. And then I know that once I get this equivalent functional, in order to obtain the unknowns, I need to minimize this functional equivalent integral functional with respect to unknown parameters. And in this case, unknown parameters are nothing but these terms ui and uj, which in compact form it was written in terms of delta. So basically what we need to do is, I need to either do it this way, I need to minimize this with respect to ui, equate it to 0, entire equation, and again then I will have to minimize this with respect to uj and equate it to 0. I will get one more equation, and then we can combine them. Or else I can directly minimize this equivalent integral form or equation or equivalent functional by directly by delta, which this delta consists, which this delta is nothing but it consists of both ui as well as uj. So better to go with this method rather than going with this two separately. Or we can go with this also, but then we'll have to combine this both equations, we'll have to combine them. Or I can directly differentiate this, or we minimize this with respect to delta and equate it to 0. And that is what has been done here. This delta is nothing but the unknown variables which I need to find, which consist of ui and uj. So then differentiating this with respect to delta and equating it to 0, I will get this term. This term is nothing but, since I'm differentiating this with respect to delta, this term will go, this term will go, and this term will go. Now what remains here, delta transpose and delta transpose. If I bring it out this side, it will become delta, and then this x transpose, if I bring it out this side, I will get it as x. So this is nothing but, this is the equation after minimizing this equivalent functional. So this is nothing but, this is the equation which we wanted. And then further what I need to do is, I just need to substitute here what is this dn by dx, or I need to substitute here what is n, and then I'll have to integrate it. So for that what I will do is, I will write this term as this bracket. I will call this term I will call it as I1, minus this term I will call it as I2, times this delta, equal to this term I will call it as I3 multiplied by x. So basically what I need to find now is, I need to find what is I1, what is I2, and what is I3. And then if I start solving them, I know that I1 is now integral from xi to xj, first derivative of shape function transpose, first derivative of shape function times dx. This is my first integral I1. And then we know that the derivative of shape function, this is our shape function, right? And the derivative of this shape function with respect to x will be minus 1 by le and 1 by le. It will be nothing but, this is the transpose shape, derivative of shape function transpose, and the derivative of shape function will be a row vector, and this will be a column vector. So wherever I have this term, I will substitute it as minus 1 by le, 1 by le in terms of row, and then wherever I have transpose, I will substitute this minus 1 by le, 1 by le in terms of this column. So here I have transpose, right? So here I have, since here I have the transpose, that's why I will substitute it in terms of a column vector. And here, since there is no transpose, I will substitute it in terms of the row vector. And then further, if I multiply this, since this is 2 by 1 and this is 1 by 2, I should get a 2 by 2 matrix, which I have got here. And this matrix is similar to what we had obtained last time, and I had shown you in detail. If I integrate this, I will get this term, right? Because this one term will be nothing but x by le square, which will go from xi to xj. If I integrate this term from xi to xj, I will get it this way. So in place of x, I will have xj minus xi by le square, this square, and xj minus xi is nothing but le, right? And this I have le square, so I get 1 by le, so 1 by le. And then here I will get, similarly here I will get minus 1 by le, here I will get minus 1 by le, here I will get 1 plus 1 by le. And then if I remove that 1 by le out, common out, I will get this as my integral 1. So this is what I will be substituting it here, this is what I will be substituting I will be substituting here in place of I1. Now let us see what will be the integral of I2, that is the integral of this term, second term. So this integral of I2, which is nothing but integral from xi to xj n transpose n dx. Now we know that, and this is similar to, exactly similar to what we had done in our last problem. So this n, if I substitute it as ni and nj, and this n which has no transpose, I will have to write it as a row vector which is ni and nj, and then if I multiply them, I will get this as our matrix which we had seen last time. And then the way we had seen last time, if I substitute in place of ni, if I substitute it as xj minus x by le, and then if I try to integrate this from xi to xj, it will take us lot of time to integrate this one terms. That's why what I can do is I can use this integral formula which we had seen last time in detail, and these steps are exactly same as that last time. So finally I will get, in place of this, if I substitute, use this ni square, I will get this as le by 3, this term as le by 3. Similarly this term will be also le by 3, this term and this term will be le by 6. Please watch my last video to understand the steps in detail. So finally when I substitute this terms here, I will get this I2 as this. Fine. And then finally I have the third integral I3, and this I3 will be nothing but n transpose x. N transpose is the column vector ni nj, and x is nothing but this which we had seen last time. Again, this is the same integral which we had evaluated in the last video. So finally here again I will get this as same as this term, same as, exactly same as this terms. Only thing is it is multiplied by, it is multiplied by xi and xj, it is multiplied by xi and xj. So if I do this, if I substitute this, if I substitute in place of this matrix ni square, ni nj, ni nj and nj square, if I substitute these terms, I will get this as my third integral. This exactly same I will get, only thing is it will be multiplied by xi and xj. So this will be my third integral, and this is the equation which we had earlier, I1 minus I2 times delta is equal to I3. And if I had brought this x outside here for I3, then I need not write this, because this term will represent this. So in place of I3 I have this, and this term will represent this. So once I substitute the values of I1, I2 and I3 in this, I will get this as my equation, which is exactly same as that of the last time. And then further, since they have asked us to consider the three elements, they had asked us to consider three elements. Here it is shown again, the entire domain which is from 0 to 1. This is again discretized into three elements, 1, 2 and 3. And then we had seen that how to calculate the stiffness matrix. From here on, the same steps will repeat. I will get k1, k2, k3, and we had seen in detail last time how to assemble this k1, k2, k3 matrix to obtain the global stiffness matrix. So this will take care of the global stiffness matrix. By the way, we had seen that this is nothing but, this is the finite element equation which we want. This is the finite element equation for our given problem. Once we obtain this, we can discretize the domain into any number of parts, and what we need to do is we need to evaluate this individual matrices. That is, this term, as we had seen last time, this term represents the k term, this term represents the delta term, and this term represents the force term f. So once I get this equation, finite element equation, I can go on discretizing this, or go on meshing this entire domain into the number, and into the any number of elements which we want. And then I just have to evaluate these terms k1, k2, k3 and so on to obtain the global stiffness matrix. And also I want to find here what is the global force matrix. So that can be found as F equal to Le by 6 2112 times xi xj. Now here again, the way we had seen last time, the steps will be exactly same. In place of Le, we will substitute 1 by 3, and then only thing is what we need to take care here in case of force matrix is this global coordinates xi and xj. For first term, the way we had seen last time, xi is 0, xj is 1 by 3. For second term xi is 1 by 3, whereas xj is 2 by 3. For third term xi is 2 by 3 and xj will be 1, which I can write also this 1, I can also write it as 3 by 3. And then if I evaluate this, I will get this as f1, f2, f3. And then finally I can combine it to obtain the global force matrix the way we had seen last time. And once I get the global force matrix, I can substitute it into global system of equation, and I will get this big equation. At this is the stage where we had seen how to apply the boundary conditions. Since this is the same problem which we are solving, the boundary conditions will also remain same. And then finally if I apply this boundary condition, that is, since u is 0 at x equal to 0, that tells us that u1 actually is 0, and since u is 0 at x equal to 1, that is this u, which tells me that u4 is 0. If I do that, if I substitute it here, we had seen that I can cancel this first row, I can cancel this fourth row, I can cancel this first column, I can cancel this fourth column, and then finally whatever remains will be rewritten here again, and that gives us this as our solution. So since this was same problem, most of the steps were same the way we had done last time in case of Galerkin's method. But this is how we can solve the given problem using the variational method or using the weighted residual method in conjunction with finite element method.